I'm on.
I'll turn yours on as well. Hello.
Good evening. Hi. Is it that time of day?
It is.
That
It
time of
must
day.
be
It
that
is
time of day. It must
of
be.
Day.
We are the Online Wine Tasting Club, and I'm on the wrong microphone, so I'm going to tap into the right one. Hello.
Okay, there we are.
There you go.
Fantastic.
That's a better microphone. Happy days.
Better mics keeps everybody happy. Well, welcome. Hi. Shout in the chat. Say hello. Oh, blue skies in Yorkshire.
Yeah, nice.
That's nice. Hey, everybody's happy. Everybody's happy. Well, we're going to talk about places that had nice weather.
Yeah, we could go there. Yeah. I get there.
Uruguay.
So have you been anywhere recently by any chance, Mr. Smith?
Yeah, Zaragoza. I went last week. But we're doing my previous trip.
Oh, right. Okay.
Sorry.
Fair enough.
Right.
Okay.
So Alex is
I am just setting up the Slido so we can exchange our wonderful tasting notes on what we think these wines taste like. And,
absolutely.
Uruguay. We've tried Uruguayan wines. We did the wine advent calendar last year where we got the wonderful chance to go and explore a whole bunch of exciting places, and one of them was Uruguay. And I remember being very pleasantly surprised. But it was kind of like it was one of those wines where it was like, this is a very good value for money version of this wine. It wasn't spectacularly distinctive, and I think what I've enjoyed from you coming back from this trip is to find that it is quite a distinctive place, and there are a lot of quite interesting things to say about Uruguayan wines and about Uruguay the country and how it does things.
Yeah, absolutely. So before I dive in, let's get wine number one in the glass, because that's what we're all here for. We're all here for a little bit of a wine tasting, not a little bit of Jamie and his holiday stories. But what
you're in the wrong place.
What I found. So, I did the South America trip, and it was Chile and it was Uruguay, and I'll give you that glass, so that's fine.
Sounds good.
And I think sometimes we just kind of chuck all of South America kind of under one kind of it's South American wine.
Yeah,
we go, it's Australian wine. And when we get New World, we kind of slap a whole continent or a whole country under one thing.
Quite a large place.
We go to France, is this particular vineyard here? And that's what's really important. But what I found is, you think South America, you think Andes Mountains and that kind of thing. And there is the Andes Mountains, but that is between Chile and Argentina.
Quite a long way to that side if I'm looking at the camera. So yes, it's not.
So I've been in Chile, and for those who joined us last month, I won't bore you with too many of the details, but you're in Chile, and one way you've got the coastal range, the other way you've got the Andes Mountains, and everything is about altitude and height and all that kind of good stuff. And
that's less.
And that really makes the climate what it is, the rain shadow, all that kind of stuff. But then you come over the Andes, you come over Argentina, and come down into Montevideo in Uruguay.
And all across those central plains and right down by the sea.
You get out of the plane and you walk, and it's flat, and there's the ocean, and it just leads to a vastly different world. So there's a fair few regions within Uruguay, but where I was based in Montevideo, and we went up to Canelones, which is what's classed as their metropolitan area, which is about 70% of the production in the country, and that's where the focus is going to be today, because that's where I was hanging out.
Yeah. So and Montevideo is the capital city of Uruguay. I think that's important to note, and it's beach town. You can go to the beach in the capital city, which is always a cool thing. You can do that in, several other major cities of the world. You can do it in like Lisbon. You can do it in Barcelona. But yeah, it's a cool beach town, and so it's a fun place to see. But you're not far. How long does it take to go from your hotel next to the beach in Montevideo up to Canelones to the wine
Well, it
region.
depends where you're going to be. So there's wineries within Montevideo. So there's wine in Montevideo, but you're 30, 45 minutes. It's if that.
That's not far.
You can travel further afield in that, but you can get into wine country quite quickly, which is
That's cool.
Which is brilliant. So tonight we've got wines from 3 different wineries.
Yep.
Some wineries have different brand names, so we'll find out that Traversa and Salort is the same winery. We've got for Uruguay, we've got a really big winery.
Yeah.
We've then got a very small boutique winery, and then we've got a natural style winery, which is kind of cool. So the first one we've got, and we put Slido up for the people.
It's up.
Fantastic. So if you're first time joining us, you can go to TOWTC.co.uk/taste. You can scan the QR code, and you can start putting your tasting notes in of what you think of this beautiful, beautiful Sauvignon Blanc. So, this is Family Traversa, and between them and Garzon are probably the two biggest wineries in Uruguay as far as production, and we're talking in the low millions of bottles. So we're not Yellowtail, we're not Barefoot, but still decent production, which allows them to make some really cool wines and also some more bulk wines, which gives you really good value in there. From Kathy's point there, both me and Alex sat Amanda's tasting on
apparently with Finn as well. Finn was in there too on the Monday.
Yeah,
so we were all there. That's really cool.
Yeah, it was absolutely.
We didn't see you there,
but absolutely brilliant.
Happy days. So it's a good.
This is going to be the point when I'm going to say something, and Finn's going to be, well, I was at the masterclass, and you're actually out by 3%, so try again. But where did I get to?
So one of the fun things that I liked about it was actually this slide that Amanda Barnes, who has literally written the book on
the South American Wine Guide.
The South American Wine Guide. And she showed this, which was all about their kind of green credentials and how they are moving towards certifying so many of their regions in sustainable agriculture. But the thing that hit me was this top right slide, which showed that at that time when the slide was made, 97% of their electricity came from carbon neutral sources.
Renewable sources, yeah.
Which is astonishing. But then she caveated that by saying, it's
out
today, it's now 98. So 98% of their energy coming from renewable resources is brilliant. So huge congratulations to them, and well done, they're leading the way on that. So this is a country which is progressive in its not just its winemaking styles, in its politics, in all of it coming together to make something holistic, which I think is really cool.
But also there is a lot of tradition as well. So this winery Traversa is 3rd generation. CCR, we had lunch with them when we were out there with all the different generations, which was absolutely brilliant.
Fantastic.
But it was Carlos Dominguez Traversa, and then he married Maria Salort. So that's where you've got the two brands under there. So you've got the Traversa family, and then you've got the Salort brand.
I think I remember we mentioned that in the Advent calendar, which is kind of cool. So,
but this is just it's
Sauvignon
Blanc. It's bright. It's fresh.
We're on wine 1.
We are still on wine 1. We were talking about
we've been talking about
all sorts of things.
Not holidays. You mean international travel?
International wine travel, exactly.
Yeah, with the drone and everything.
So I think this is a beautiful wine. Sauvignon Blanc. I feel it kind of wherever Sauvignon Blanc goes, it takes on its own thing. You go to Marlborough and you get that very gooseberry, that very passion fruity kind of style.
It's true. It's true.
You go to Loire, you get this kind of grassy style. You go to Chile, you get this kind of tropical style. And here, I think you're a little bit tropical because it's warm, but you've got this coastal influence to it. So, it does. I say it cools and even. There's not the diurnal shift that there is in Chile or Argentina because you haven't got the altitude to it. But it is moderated by the ocean.
And we've got that. So I don't. And we do have a map that's in some of the videos later. So we don't necessarily have it right at a second. It is in your booklet. So we are down in that kind of southwestern corner, and you can sort of see how it goes up into the river. And how would you describe, like, if you were going to place a Sauvignon Blanc, we get it.
In my glass.
thanks. But in terms of relative to other parts of the world, it is a different kind of Sauvignon Blanc. But can you see that it's the cooler influences from the ocean and from the river that come in? It's not getting that sort of
it's
the
kind of
Chilean
interesting
Sauvignon Blanc,
because
which is
where we are in Montevideo, you're kind of
more
you're
character.
on the estuary, so you've got the Rio de la Plata, which is the big river that's miles wide. But on a clear day from Montevideo, you can see Buenos Aires across the river.
That's
kind of
cool.
So, but
nice.
you're down there and you've got this estuary. So, where do I place this? It's without a question of a doubt.
It's
a new
Sauvignon.
world wine.
It's a new world Sauvignon Blanc.
But
that's what I'd say.
when we get onto the thing, the climate here is almost like you get in northwest Spain, in Galicia. You've got that Atlantic, it's Atlantic influence.
Yeah.
You get the misty mornings. You get, when it rains there. So you do have this little bit.
They have more than 1,000 millimeters of rain a year, which is ridiculous. That's super, super high. And I think as anyone who, or especially Finn, who was in the Amanda Barnes presentation, will know, we tasted two different Albariños, thank you. That's the one. And
that's what I'm here for.
Sorry, I'm so tired. It's ridiculous. But we will gloss through over that. We had some beautiful Albariños and very different styles of it, but they were very much that cooler, almost northwestern Spain, northwestern Portugal style of things. And that is so different from Argentina, from Chile, from, all of the other countries that we typically try wine from.
Absolutely, it's bright, it's fresh, it's got some texture. But we do have a video here from Diego from the winery. So if we want to pop that on,
should we do that? Well, let's have a quick look first. Just to say, so everyone's in that kind of saline, citrus fruity, zesty style of thinking, which is, I think, absolutely right. I'm now looking out for white tea and honeysuckle.
Yeah, it's very bright, it's very fresh, but it's not one-dimensional. Sometimes we talk about simple wines, easy drinking wines, and you get that kind of very, ubiquitous Pinot Grigio-esque kind of wine where it's lemon and nothingness. There's still some nice finish there. There's a medium finish on it. It hangs out for a little bit. Food-wise, what are you having with this? Because with everything, I had to have asada,
Quite right, yes. All the grilled meat. Yeah, 35% more annual rain than we do in Norfolk. Norfolk is obviously one of the drier places in the United Kingdom. Essex, Norfolk, the whole of East Anglia gets less rain than many other parts of the country. But that is not what you expect from a South America wine producing country. So very interesting and very cool. I've been judging wine at the weekend. I went down to the fabulous tasting. It's the Independent English Wine Awards, and also the is it Independent Canned Wine Awards?
You were there,
the Canned Wine Awards. So I was judging on both, and we got to try Chris Wilson's new Sauvignon Blanc from his windmill in Cambridge. Now, we featured him before. He's a fantastic guy. He went into the London Wine Fair last year wearing a T-shirt that said "Straight Out of Plumpton," which is Plumpton being the college where all the English winemakers are educated. He had that made just for the occasion. Such a cool guy. But his Sauvignon Blanc from England. We've had one before. We did it on the English tasting last year.
You're looking at me for inspiration here.
Yeah, no. We did it on our tasting, and it was the one from Polgoon that was grown in polytunnels.
Polytunnels in Cornwall.
Cornwall, exactly. Yeah. And it was fine. It was nice, but it was a little bit watery and insipid. Chris's wasn't. And again, I think this could suffer if it was from a cool place, lots of sea style influence. It could have been a bit watery. This is not watery. It's really really nice.
When I was there, it was a bit of an anomaly. They're having a bit of a heat wave, so it's like 38 degrees during the day, and then it was still 30 degrees at night. Whereas in Chile, it got to 28, 30 during the day, and then it dropped to about 16. It's like, I need a jacket. Uruguay is still like, oh my word, we could go to the swimming pool at midnight.
So we have a pairing. It goes well with grilled salmon with tomato and olive vinaigrette. Yes, please. I want some of that. That sounds great. So, Mr. Smith, you say you prepared a video.
Yes, I did.
Shall we find that? Can you point at the
It
video?
is not Nakao.
Traversa inside the
No,
winery.
not that one.
Sauvignon
There we
Blanc.
are. The one that
That'll be
says Traversa
All
Sauvignon
right.
Blanc.
Enjoy the video. See you in a sec.
My name is Diego, and I would like to introduce to you our Finca Traversa Sauvignon Blanc. This is a wine that is made 100% with grapes grown in Montevideo. We are just 15 kilometers away from the coast, which helps to preserve the natural acidity and the super fresh profile of this white wine. We ferment it in stainless steel tanks at low temperature to highlight the citrus, green apple, and fresh herbal aromas. It's a light wine, perfect as an aperitif. This Sauvignon Blanc is a great example of the Uruguayan white wine style, honest, expressive, and full of freshness. So we hope you enjoy it.
So yeah, we spent a lot of time with Diego when we were out there. Really, really fun. And these guys, it's a big winery. It's a big winery. There's lots of space, massive stainless steel tanks all over the place, and they're a cattle farm. So
Naturally, yeah.
So basically, go through, pick your cow, have your dinner. The world's a good place.
Brilliant. So, the food in Uruguay. Obviously, we tend to associate South America with some very bold flavors. Everything from these, beautiful things like the Brazilian barbecues, where you keep them going until you're ready to stop eating, and they just bring you more and more food. The Argentinian beef, all sorts of things. How the asado is that more like a culture?
It absolutely is, and it's the whole thing that it's consistent. It's there. It's a lot. It's long meals. It's lots of time. It's very, what the feeling I got. Everything is very family orientated. It's beautiful. Remember, we should probably move on to wine number 2 because people are going to be, we're 20 minutes in, and this is still from the same winery, so it's okay. I can continue talking about Traversa and Salort, but let's get wine number 2 in the glass and move the
sounds good.
And move the tasting notes on.
Alrighty.
But we went, we did the winery tour, and we sat down, and we've been told we were going to have this asado. Yeah, it's like really exciting. And then there were some salads put out. They always, you got to have a token bit of salad to be like, here we go. And then this thing came in, and it was like pork ribs and pork cheek and sausage, and I'm like,
oh my word,
brilliant. There's a little bit in the back of my head going, I thought we were having a asado. I was expecting it to be beef. They stopped and
no.
Just to let you know, this is the appetizer.
But the starter of many grilled meats. Excellent.
But it was mad. Like, and everyone there seems to be all the food in the world. Everyone's seems pretty skinny, pretty healthy.
Yeah.
It's like not a vegetable in sight. We went to a great little wine bar that was owned by the guys who do Nakul that we'll talk about later, and it was like an empanada kind of thing with stewed meat inside and little pieces. Some
sounds awful, mate.
Good,
I don't know how you survived.
really good, interesting food.
Just in terms of these taste notes, before I move over, I love that little hint of toffee. You're right. There is that beautiful caramelized note, which is really, really subtle, but it's there in the background. And
I like the person that's not rinsed their glasses properly.
Very liquid. I like the person who is so specific with their knowledge that they can instantly say this tastes Uruguayan. I would not be that, but I bow to your supreme taste on that. But it's everything from honey and steel and pear drops, salinity, honeysuckle, banana, apple, for a Sauvignon Blanc at that price point. Well, obviously we don't know what the price point is, but at that sort of more like, let's start with this as one of the to kick us off the night. Very cool. Right, let's move it on. Then we can move on to the next wine to submit small tasting notes. Albarino in now. So right. I would never have said Albarino was my first wine to say from Uruguay. What would be the grape I would have said?
You would have said Tannat.
I would have said Tannat.
And I would have said Tannat.
Yep.
And there is some delightful Tannat.
We will
get some Tannat further forward. But this was, if I had to pick something to come home with to
Mhm.
shout about, what was the light bulb moments
Yeah.
of Uruguay? Because I think Albarino is probably the up and coming grape varietal in the world right now.
Definitely. Yeah.
You know, the Spanish and Portuguese whites are making great shouts. You know, Verdejo, but you know, Alvarinho from Portugal, brilliant. So absolutely brilliant
Yeah.
stuff. But with
And
it
it's
becoming
broken through. It's got to the point where you could go into your pub and say, "Could I have a glass of Albarino?" and they'll know what you're talking about. And that is
But
not
the
nothing.
problem with that is the minute everyone knows about it, it slowly creeps up a little bit in price, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, or the quality for the
Or
price
they're making,
decreases.
or
they're
they're
making
bulking it,
generic,
whatever.
bulky sort of stuff. Yeah.
But this was absolutely brilliant. And when you go South America,
Oh, that's
it's
good.
when you say South America, it makes no
that's
sense.
good.
South American Albarino, you go, no, because South America makes Tanat and Cabernet
Yeah, it's high
and
altitude, blah blah blah.
Malbec,
Yeah.
and that's, you know, and I think a lot of the time we think South America, red wine, apart from little pockets like Salta in Argentina or Leda in Chile, you know,
Yeah.
where you get those little cool pockets of
Yeah,
microclimate.
and we've talked about some of
This-
these crazy places at the extremities of Chile, because it obviously goes up and down a long way as a country that goes from the very depths towards the South Pole up to the equator. But yeah,
coastal Atlantic, lots of rain, warmish summers. That describes Galicia, no?
it really does. It really does. And
Flat
Amanda's
or mountainous,
saying that exact
rolling
same.
hill, done.
Pretty, yeah.
It's kind of carbon copy.
Yeah.
Just the other side of the ocean.
The opposite side, yeah.
So it makes sense that it should
does.
work. And, you know, you look at the people that have traveled and settled, you know, there's a lot of French, Italian, and Spanish influence across South America as well. So, you know, these grapes have been brought over from people who have done it previously and go, this works. And the aromatics are beautiful. There's texture, there's vibrancy, and
mate,
you know,
that's great.
And I'm not saying it's replacing Spanish Albarino anytime soon. Not the way that
it doesn't need to.
Not the way that we had Cahors for Malbec, and then suddenly we've got
that
Mendoza for Malbec.
That's fair.
That's different stylistically.
Very different.
But this is, I think, if you're looking
such
for
a
something
great foodie wine
that is cool, a little bit different, something that you can safely put on the table with your friends and go, they'll go, oh, that's good, and you can, you know, have complete trust. And I don't think I had a bad Albarino while I was out there. It seemed to be, you know, Tanat is without a doubt Uruguay's grape, without a doubt. But Albarino seemed to be the thing that most people were excited about. It's like, have a look at this Albarino. Albarino could be this. Albarino could be the next big thing for that.
So remind me, the first two wines at the tasting that we went to at the London Wine Fair, which is now sadly over, but go to it, it's a good thing. Well, we had those two Albarinos. One of them was quite a natty style, wasn't it? It was unfined, unfiltered.
So yeah, and that was the one that was a little bit oxidated, like very peachy.
Exactly.
That one,
Then there was one that was done in oak as well, which was super, super ripe fruit and really, really. Oh no, the first one not the first one wasn't Albarino. Was
first
it?
one was Sauvignon Blanc.
Sauvignon Blanc, yeah. It didn't
and then
taste
we had
like
two
Sauvignon Blanc.
Albarinos.
We had the two Albarinos, yeah. So then we had one which was done oak, which was really, really peachy, and we had another one which was a little bit, it's a little bit kind of lost, wasn't it? But absolutely delicious. Just it wasn't quite sure what it wanted to be. This I think is bang on. It is absolutely what you want an Albarino to be, while having a little bit of a slightly different character, which says I'm from Uruguay. It doesn't say
it's
northwestern Spain.
You know, it's an interesting thing, because if I tasted this and I said it was Spanish, I wouldn't expect to be laughed out of class because I got it wrong. It's not like Sauvignon Blanc that you go, is this Sancerre, is it Marlborough? They're distinct. I think if you tasted this today and then you tasted a Spanish one next week, you go, oh, much of a muchness. I think if you're doing them side by side, you'd see you'd be able to have the point of note.
Exactly placing what the difference is. I think we'd probably have to do some practice. But what do you guys think? Let's have a look at the tasting notes. So peach I think that says a little bit more about the sunshine. So, you know, when you start developing those white fruits, the northwest of Spain isn't the sunniest part of Spain.
No, it's a
by
little
long
grayer, a
way,
little
is it? It's
cloudier.
little
So you've probably got more.
cloudier.
You've got more sunshine
Yeah.
hours coming into Uruguay. So you'll get maybe a little bit more of those baked characteristics,
Mhm.
those stone fruit characteristics, rather than a heavy amount of those more citrusy,
Yeah.
kind of pithy, zesty characteristics.
I love the
Completely
fact
agree
that
with
we
that.
have sweet nectary flowers. Absolutely, this is completely true. And into that kind of like got a gamey nose.
But yeah, Alvarinho, and you know,
I
as
like
Sophia's put there, I think these Iberian white varietals are going to be. I say the next big thing. I've been saying the next big thing for 3 years now. But Alvarinho, Verdejo,
Alvarinhos.
Fernando Pires, you know, those kind of wines, Lureo, that kind of stuff. I think in a world where people are trying to force the alcohol down,
Yeah, true.
having a wine that is naturally a little bit lighter, a little bit less alcohol, without
That makes
forcing
sense.
it or
Yeah.
picking early or manipulating to get where you want to get. These wines do a really, really, really good job for that.
Oh, and this one apparently goes well with seared tuna. Oh God,
Seared
I'm
tuna.
so hungry now. Wow, that sounds great.
But yeah, my
Yeah.
thought with this, you know, fish taco, ceviche, that kind of thing,
Yeah,
or with some
definitely.
lighter cheese like a burrata, or maybe a little bit of feta, something like that would be brilliant. But yeah, this
That's lovely.
this
Isn't
with
it?
ceviche
Really
with just
lovely.
a little bit of, you know, grapefruit in there, a little bit of lime in there, I think would be absolutely brilliant.
This brings out the fruit, doesn't it? Yeah, nice. What do you think? You guys enjoying the wine so far? Let us know in the chat because yeah, there's some really cool tasting notes going in there, and but dominated by peach and honeysuckle. Does that not define the kind of Albarino at that riper end characteristic, especially when you've still got some beautiful minerality? And George is having some grilled sea bass as a pick and share. Oh yes, that sounds fantastic. Love it. And Sophia's having with feta too. Well, the saltiness always just what does saltiness do to the fruit flavors? Just to remind us.
Saltiness brings out the fruit flavors. It makes them bolder, richer, more noticeable. So
if you got a salty cheese,
so
like
it's the same on anything. Salt brings out flavor. That's why you season your food to bring the flavor out. So if you've got something that's got a little bit of saltiness to it, it's going to bring those fruit flavors out. It'll bring the acidity out. It'll dull down tannins a little bit, but for a white wine, that doesn't really matter. So it brings out that fruity characteristic. But you know, these guys, we talked a little bit about, you know, the energy use in Uruguay. These guys are solar panels because they're good like that, and you know, they reduced their bottle weight down by 25% back in 2014. So before
it was cool.
Before it was cool to have a light bottle, they were lightweight in bottles already. So yeah, you know, lovely people. They couldn't have been more generous with their time. And I think what was exciting, we're talking about like buying grant, and you know, you see these people go and watch it, and you know, Europe, you go on a buying trip, they get 3 or 4 sets of people a year.
Wow.
Not very much. So they're really excited to showcase what they do. You know, you've got to bear in mind, Uruguay is the second smallest country in South America, you know, and when you talk about South American wine, I think, and I'm going to upset someone in the chat here, but you know, it's Argentina or Chile are the one and two. I think Argentina more for now premium wines. Chile is probably a better known wine for everyday drinking.
Every day.
What a horrific generalization. I'm very sorry to every Argentinian, every Chilean winemaker out there.
And if you want to prove that wrong, go and check out our Chilean mixed case from the previous tasting.
Exactly. Brazil has got some phenomenal sparkling, some great. You know, we did some wines from Peru, which were beautiful. You know, Sauvignon Blanc from Peru is fantastic. But I just think Uruguay has its own kind of. It's so different compared to anybody else.
I love it. Burton-on-Trent has delivered its verdict. Wine 2 is their choice. Both of them were good, but I think Wine 2 is definitely looking like the winner.
Is that for all of Burton?
All of Burton-on-Trent.
Done.
Yep, none of Burton under the Trent. Though.
Well, you don't want to be
Those
there.
Are, those
you know,
are not living
that
their
would be
yet.
more than 1,000 millimeters of rain if it was
True,
bursting under the
true.
Trent. It wouldn't be good for anyone.
But cracking wine.
Anyway, we are.
But we should go on something that is not cool.
Right. Yeah.
You can rescue us from that one. I'll leave that to you.
I am intrigued by this wine that's coming up. So we'll finish up on Albarino.
But you picked it.
Oh no, I know. But this may be
okay.
This may be the most polarizing wine I have in 5 years of online wine tasting.
Really?
Club. This might be the most. I don't think there's.
I haven't tried this.
I don't think there's going to be anyone that goes, "This is all right."
Yeah, meh, don't care. Interesting. Okay, so I haven't tried this. So you will be, if you watch my facial expressions, remember I have no poker face. So I give you my genuine, honest feedback. And we will imagine what you're thinking at the time. Ooh, that's a colour.
That is a colour. So
I think I remember that colour from when I didn't drink enough water.
My word.
Come on, I mean, look at it. What? Look at that. It's yellow.
Right, you know what? We're going to do the first video first because I've got 2 videos.
All right.
So we are going to do not my video, the Santi one, wherever he is. No, not that one there. That one, I think. No, go right. Now, cool.
Hi everybody, I'm Santiago de Gasperi from Nacal Wines, Uruguay, and I want to present you today one of our white wines. It's a white blend of 3 different grapes named Nat Cool White and belongs to the Nat Cool movement. These 3 grapes grow in the same vineyard that is located in Montevideo, our capital, just 4 kilometers away to the coast. The grapes are Muscat Otonel, Viognier, and Trebbiano, and we ferment them separated, and then after the fermentation we blend it together. The skin contact is made with the Muscat, and we directly press the other 2 grapes to have more freshness and acidity. It's a very fresh, mineral and low ABV wine, expressing the place where the grapes come from. So hope you enjoy it, and you can find.
So this was by a couple of guys, Santi and Nico. Real cool fun guys. They've got a wine bar in the city, and that's where we kind of first had a big tasting of lots of Uruguayan wines in their wine bar. They took us out to their vineyards, and then we went to their winery. It's very much about natural winemaking, as far as natural winemaking can be. It's
Your comments make me laugh. That's brilliant. More lips. Yeah, this is the great zoomed in look on someone's tash and lips. Brilliant. Who cares about hair with a moustache like that?
It's about the content that's important. It's the content.
Genius. Okay, right. Let's get back to the wine, shall we? That's
Okay,
that's
so
very funny.
I'm waiting for some tasting notes to come in before I pose my judgment. So this is a blend of Muscat Otonel, Uni Blanc or Trebbiano, and Viognier.
So, very first thing, when you smell it, if you were to want to pick out a grape, Muscat is quite an easy one to pick out, isn't it? Because it smacks you in the face with the floral things. So this is more restrained. It is there, you get it, but it's not almost too over the top.
I think sometimes, especially because it's got the other grapes in there, Muscat can sometimes get confused a little bit with Gewürztraminer, with that lavendery kind of thing.
But not into that full
what
kind
you'll
of...
find, if you've got a blend for me, when you've got Muscat versus Gewürztraminer, on the palate, it's not as weighty. Gewürztraminer, you get that richness, that oiliness, whereas this is relatively fresh.
No, this is quite fresh and light, No, nice. It's very tropical. It's very honeyed. It's very kind of a little bit that aged style. It's obviously not that old at all. It's only, well, it's 4 years old. For a white, I suppose it's quite old, but yeah, it's not into that sort of aged.
So what's your opinion?
Wine.
What's your thoughts?
I actually quite like it.
Is it?
I actually like it.
But okay, so there's like it, but for what occasion? Is it sit outside and drink 12 glasses of it? Is it have it with food? Is it something cool and funky that you'd like half a glass off with a tasting menu to be perfectly paired.
That's
Or something
where,
you go share with friends to go, I think you've got to be a little bit of
yeah,
a wine
that's
geek to
no.
get into
I
this.
think it's that kind of that second to last category you just said. I would like a glass that with something that was paired with it. I enjoy it. I'm not just enjoying it because it's funky or because it's weird or anything. I think it could go beautifully with something, and I would love a half glass with a tasting menu. Would I have a glass of it on its own? I wouldn't object to it at all. I wouldn't object to it. There are many that I would object to.
This
is
for,
fine.
For me, this is a food wine. It
It's
needs
a
something
food
else to go
wine.
with it. It isn't the wine that I would sit in the bar, have
No.
a glass, and then have another glass
No.
of. It goes perfectly with some light conversation on a Thursday night with the online wine tasting club.
Yeah, I like that. That makes
Sell it
sense.
that way.
That makes sense.
Um,
So yeah.
But look, you've got some really nice tasting notes here. And well, you know what? I love that. Wow, I wasn't expecting that.
Marmite wine. Overtly natural, more enjoyable with the goat's cheese or mozzarella. Yeah, for sure. Like a food wine.
Food wine.
Something to bring out the beautiful characteristics. But it's not so as natural wines, I think the thing that I don't like in many natural wines is the variability. It's the faultiness of them, to be quite honest. It's like there is nothing wrong with making a low intervention wine. I love a good low intervention wine, but so many of them use that to mask multitude of sins.
And I think that's the thing. And
This
across the board with what these guys do, right? So they want it at the very beginning. They would no added sulfur, never anything. For spontaneous fermentation, always
Got to be spontaneous.
But
yeah.
Now, as they're growing and learning and going, the wine's as natural and as low intervention as we can,
while you still know what you're going to get when you taste it.
because you don't want to be shipping from South America and half your bottles exploding in transit because you had a secondary fermentation you weren't expecting.
So there are some who say they weren't expecting it, they aren't too sure about it, and that's fine. That is totally fine because it is absolutely, like you said, a bit of a Marmite wine. Not too sure about it is a good place, but is it distinctive? Do you know that you've got something in your glass here that you haven't ever tried before? I do, for sure. This is not like any other Muscat-based wine I've tried.
And I think that's the joy. Like, if you love it, great, buy 20 cases of it. But if you've not, it's a tasting menu. I'm completely in this. Like the notes that have come through, it's a tasting menu wine. It's a Marmite wine, better with some goat cheese. I think I think it's really cool. I think it's really cool that someone's making wine of this. Is it a commercial? It's going to be, Tesco's new wine of the month.
No, clearly not.
No, but
so I want to tell you something, but I'm not sure I'm allowed to. But I will tell you this much that I think I can get away with. The wine that won the wine of the competition at the Independent English Wine Awards. I'm not going to tell you what it is. I'm going to tell you it was in the line of a cool wine that you wouldn't have expected that involved unusual winemaking techniques. And yet it wasn't just picked because it was cool and funky and different. It was good and cool and funky and different. And so that was a really interesting and fun moment to the competition. So yes, what else we got? So
Lebanese, that slightly oxidative style, I completely agree.
Yeah, Indian brandy, I can't tell you that I've tried that from years ago, but you can take a bellyache. I hope this one helps too.
By the way, that's my favorite. That's my favorite comment. That one there. That one there.
Not the waffle stack.
Oh no, I'll have the waffle stack in the morning. I'm having waffles, but the one from Dan C.
Dan C.
This is what we try and do.
Yes,
this is exactly what we try.
Exactly. If we were just to give you boring, normal wines, just go buy them at the supermarket. There's no point in paying money to get a tasting back. So, yeah, that's absolutely fine. And Helen's enjoying with cheese fruit tapas. Again, perfect set combination of different things: the sweetness, the saltiness, like the savouriness, brilliant, and it is distinctive. The Lebanese wine from the Abengaller, like you're saying, the Musa.
Yeah,
very cool.
Yeah, and that once again was a blend, natural in style. So yeah, and I think the important thing is if you don't love it, feel free to go.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
fine.
love it because
Yeah.
if we all like the same wine,
Oh, we got 3 more. So
well, if we all like the same wine, this
It's
would be
very
this would be a
boring.
really boring show,
Yep,
wouldn't
true.
it? It's like here are 6 identical wines. Should just buy a bottle at that point.
it's interesting. I'll take one other thing, which is this is a good wine to describe the difference between fruity and sweet because it has super ripe honey fruit flavors, and it gives you all of those things that tricks your mind into thinking this must be sweet, but it is bone dry,
not a touch of
absolutely
sugar.
bone dry, nothing on it. I don't have the spec sheet right in front of me, but
What do you want to know?
Right, well, RS would be the obvious one. It's about like
A 1.9.
1. Yeah, practically no sweetness in that at all, but the flavor and the smell of sweet fruits. That is a wine that you could use in your learning pack to tell the difference between those 2 different characters. So that's really cool. Yeah, really cool. So let's move on. So supermarkets are for food and wine shops
Once
are
again,
for wine.
George's point at the bottom there. Any more than
I can't drink
George,
anymore. No.
would you like to have tried it?
Yes.
So
Exactly.
if you
Am I
on
going
that
to go
note,
and buy a
George, what
bottle
we
of
can
that?
say is
Nope.
we shall not drink any more of it then, and move on to the next wine.
Let's move on.
Nice. If there was ever a way to
Boom.
segue to the next wine, you just use it in the comments.
Thank you.
Okay, so next we are
Bravo,
we are
bravo.
moving to Suelto Tenat, and this is also by Nacal Wines. However, I might have tried to do a video with a map and some pictures and a voiceover. So we'll move the
Sure
tasting notes on.
Okay.
We'll get this in the glass
Yep.
and see if I have any level.
Just before I do that, shall we bring them up just so we can see? Because actually, we haven't learned all the limes. I love that. It
They all
doesn't
go
have
hand
length.
in hand.
It
Although that was all
doesn't
the
have
people,
length.
wasn't
It plays with the head. Someone has said it doesn't have length. I don't disagree with that at all. It has. It feels like it should, but then it doesn't. So that's really interesting. I'm not sure about a urinal tablet, but
I've not been out tasting them very
I haven't
often.
Licked those many times. Savory lavender. Rose
So
floral, beautiful.
the image in your tasting notes is different to the image on the label because since we packed it,
Ah.
they've updated their label. But it's a
Extra camera.
it's a man with a beard, so it's got to be natural.
Where's it gone? Where's it gone?
Who's done it?
Extra
go?
camera. Okay. Nope. That is not.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's.
Where you gone?
Give me a sec. There.
There. So yeah, it's a man with a beard, so it's got to be natural wine.
Sorry, it's inverted.
That's all right.
I'm gonna tick the
But
box.
there we go. Anyway, let's.
Cool. Definitely a natty wine thing. Nice.
I think it's delightful. It's cool. It's fun, and it's all organic as well, which makes the world a good place.
Taste notes. Moving on. So we're on to the reds.
So on to the
Tanat.
reds, Suelto Tenat, and
If he says what's not to like about it, then just slap him.
you've taken my jokes now. So,
There is only one joke, and we're not doing it. So okay, not doing it this time anyway.
right. So maybe we should go to the video, and then I can, make the joke. I can make the jokes in the background and get them out of the system.
That's fair. Okay. So Nakal.
Yeah, Nacal.
That's
That's
it.
us. In 2020, enologist Santi De Gasperi and Nico Monforte founded a small natural wine project in Uruguay, built on years of friendship, study, and hands-on experience across the wine world. Their inspiration came not only from the land, but from the Nacales, legendary guardians of energy and wisdom from the lost continent of Atlantis. The idea? To make wine that preserves knowledge, nurtures the land, and restores balance through minimal intervention. They work with grapes from 2 vineyard sites, both close to the Rio de Plata. In Colorado Chico, 80 kilometers inland, they grow red varieties. There's Tanat, Merlot, and Marcelin, on clay loam soils with good drainage and sun exposure. Their whites come from Paso de la Arena, just 4 kilometers from the river in Montevideo, where cooler maritime influences favour Muscat Ottonel, Trebbiano, and Viognier. wonderful aromatic varietals. All the fruit is harvested by hand in small plastic crates between late January and mid-March to preserve berry integrity and allow for careful sorting. In the cellar, the approach is equally restrained. Fermentation is carried out spontaneously using only native yeasts. There are no added sulfites, enzymes or fining agents. Wines are allowed to settle naturally and clarify by decantation with no filtration. Racking is done during the last quarter of the moon, following ancient lunar practices believed to aid stability and energy balance. Their goal isn't to manipulate the wine, but just to guide it, to create bottles that reflect origin, soil style, and thoughtful human touch. This is natural winemaking, rooted in tradition, science, and a quiet respect for nature.
Master of the drone there, Mr. Smith. He's
Not-
getting good at this.
wasn't quite close up enough to can see people's back of their teeth in this one.
Oh,
Unfortunately,
that's fair. We all like to get the lips in the video, but yes.
so
That's really interesting to see the
that's-
perspective because it doesn't look like we naturally think of South America, does it?
So that's when
it's
Knuckle
flat.
make their wine. But there's lots of people make their wine in that building. They've got a little tasting room there, and that's kind of where you saw the picture that we were sat hanging out. But they make lots of different styles. They make sparklings, they make rosés, they make different whites, different blends, and it's all done with spontaneous yeast. It's all kind of cool, fun stuff. And they want to make wines that they want to drink. It's not going after a massively commercial style. But yeah, so this is Tannat, and I think Tannat is the grape that I think when you say Uruguay, that's the one that comes
I
to
associate.
mind.
Yeah, sure.
Originally from Mazarin in
France,
the south of France,
yeah.
and got taken over there. And Mazarin can be a big, chewy, heavy style, and Tannat in general.
Yeah,
is a lot of the time it's big.
It's almost
heavy,
like it's named after
chewy.
tannins or something like that.
Oh, I
Yeah.
thought it was what's Tannat like about. Hey, I
Oh,
got it in.
well done. There we go. Excellent.
But-
but
but
yes,
not-
a big tannic
But
wine.
not all Tannats are created equally. And I think Tannats, it's when you say pinotage, there's a lot of petit pinotage that go, oh, it's big, it's leaf rolly, blah, 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 done. I think this is for Tannat quite a smooth,
It is
elegant,
relatively
drinkable style that you could have a couple of glasses of. That it's not, there's not so much tannin that your tongue's gone furry, and not so much acid to balance it that the enamel comes off your teeth. I think it's a really well made, softer style of Tannat, which you can get when you have longer, warmer days. You get that ripeness balance. You can and you can soften round the edges, and I think it's delightful.
It's interesting. So they say it's not clarified or filtered. So the when you make the wine, obviously there's lots and lots of bits of gunk in there that have come from the fermentation process and from the grapes themselves, and they've just let it settle down naturally, and they have done that clarification in different steps on the quarter moon. So it's
there's a
to
little
do with lunar cycles.
There's a little bit of organics in there. There's a little bit of bio in there.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of but not.
It's not
a lot of South America does the sustainable biodynamic, those kind of things. But a lot of them don't follow it to the letter. They follow it with the bits that they found works for them.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, we do the. It's like, well, you can't if you're meant to pick on the third day of the lunar cycle, but the grapes aren't ripe.
Yeah.
We're not gonna pick it just because the moon said so.
Quite.
Which sounds ridiculous because there are people that do that. They go, well, the moon says we should pick, so let's pick.
But it cleans the wine naturally. Okay, so Elaine, I'm with you. I'm absolutely with you. This is not the kind of wine that I just want a glass of to drink. This is okay. I'm having a pasta dish with some beautiful pork mince in there, like the rago di cinghiale or something like that. And I want something that grips on it. Oh, or some good grilled meat on the asado. That will work.
That was nothing to do with
That's
this wine.
fair.
That was outside the house that we had lunch at Traversa.
Terrible. Tell me, how did you survive this trip? I don't know. But yeah, it absolutely goes. You put on your thing: beef, cheese, tomato sauces. Why beef? Beef gives you protein. Protein binds the tannins. That matches that thing. Why cheese? Cheese has got, again, protein in it and a bit of acidity there. The tomato sauce is very big on the acidity and salt.
Freshens
Freshens
the palate,
about it. Yeah. So
look at the tasting notes; they've gone mental.
Yeah, let's dig up those. Let's dig up those. Okay. Lots to go into. So everything from chalky tannins, yep, definitely of that sort of. It's not the heavy lifting tannins that you get on a Madaran or anything, which just goes, what have I done to myself? But still, we have some people who go like licking a 2p coin. I love it. That's fantastic. Bitter as fudge. Fudge isn't very bitter. That's really strange. I mean, strange tasting it, but yeah. But dark plums, stewed plums, blackberries, spice. Yeah, tannin, even things like acetone. Yeah, that's probably from the natural.
I think the important
side.
thing with this is there is a lot of tannins, but they've managed to keep enough fresh fruit in there that it's not tannin
on its own.
Tannin isn't just there by itself.
If you compare this to a Barolo or something like that, or a Brunello di Montalcino, the other big tannic wines, or like we say, a Madaran with the same grape, the Tannat grape, it is actually quite subtle. But on the grand scale of wine, it's like a monster truck still.
I was just about to speak, and like inside my cheeks went, and then the saliva came down from the hand. I'm like, okay, swallow, then talk.
Swallow, then talk. Yeah.
So yeah, I think, you know, but this is once again, it's another natural wine.
Yeah,
but this is not a natty
not
red.
a natty natural wine.
There's a difference between natural and natty, and I think that's something that
it's not faulty.
Wine in essence is a natural product. So there's this whole bland
grape juice,
low intervention. You know, hey, it's I think, you know, and I talked to a few people at London Wine Fair about natural wines, organic wines, biodynamic, all those kind of things. And I think the general consensus in the wine industry is becoming the wine has to be good.
Yeah.
And then after that, tick the boxes. You know, is it biodynamic? Is it sustainable? Is it green? You know, if I come and go, I've got this sustainable wine, all organic, all biodynamic. What's it taste like? Oh, it's bloody awful. That's oh, I like that, Dan. I like that. It's exciting news.
That's good news. And Finn says exactly. Keep it uncomplicated. As wine, it's pleasant. It's not too complex. This one isn't a complex enough. It is a smoother tonight.
That has to be the most standard pairing I've ever seen for a Finn. It's usually flaked halibut with a pesto cream, and spaghetti bolognese.
It's like, why haven't we got any like shaved
shaved truffles
and things? Yeah, no, it's cool. So it is. It would work bloody well with spag bowl. Like I said, ragu di cinghiale, something that's got the tomato for the acidity, the salt, a little bit of the fattiness.
We say spaghetti bolognese, you get ragu di cinghiale.
Yeah, I'm the fancy one today. Anyway, so not too tannic. It's not, and it's quite young. The tannins would definitely soften with age. Would it develop some of that beautiful aged complexity that you get with an old Barolo or an old Brunello? A bit.
A little. Bit. Honestly,
not much.
Honestly, I've not drunk enough aged Tannat to be able to give an answer. I can hazard a guess that it would soften, but I think where you...
It would definitely soften.
But where you lose...
Would it develop the other things?
Where you lose the fruit with the tannin, even though softening, would the tannin become more prominent and spiky as you lose the fruit? I don't know. Could do.
Yeah.
We should keep some.
Yeah. Kathy, not a big Tannat fan. It's not too bad. I do love licking a 2p coin. That's such a funny taste, you know. That's great. I think my glass has more fruit debris than wine. That's the joy of natural wines. Yep. So yes. Biodynamic does usually mean they take more care of the wines. They do. They have to, because otherwise it all goes wrong. Does it necessarily depend on the phase of the moon? The jury's out on that. But yeah. Is it a bit flat? Potentially.
I like it,
but
it's you know, hey, this is the joy of this. It's each your own. We're not all going to love every wine. We're not going to hate every wine, and people have opinions. You know, people go, I love this. You know, Some people thought Man United were going to win, the Europa League last night. They did not.
They did not.
Some people liked it. Tottenham fans liked it.
Tottenham fans liked it. Shall we go on some Cab Franc?
Oh, speaking of winning trophies,
Yeah. Oh, did
Yeah.
we win a trophy?
we won a trophy. For those who missed it, we won the Drinks Business Award Best Supply Chain Initiative.
Do you know
at
what's
the London Wine Fair.
hilarious is that when Jamie said we've won this award, my first reaction was, haven't we won that one already? and he goes,
And we-
no, we only got a commendation last time.
Last
And I
time.
was like, okay, that's cool. No, it's nice because ultimately the supply chain faces a whole bunch of issues at the moment. The wine industry is not having a huge amount of fun with EPR fees, the enhanced producer responsibility, which says you've got to pay for all the recycling.
Okay, people have only had 4 glasses of
Twice.
wine. Okay, they've not had enough
All
to listen to
sorts
this.
of things. But anyway, giving people a pouch of wine is far more environmentally friendly and cost them less. So they should do that more. So that'd be nice.
Yeah. Right.
But also, you can't do that if your wine doesn't taste like it does in the fresh bottle. So that's the big thing where what we do comes in. is
You've gotta
it still
drink
tastes like a bottle.
Good
hopefully.
wine, good formats, good people, happy days. And
Happy
that's what's important. Right, so we are back to Traversa and Salort. So this is where you take Tanat and add some cab to it and see what it does. What I'd like to just as we go into this and move the tasting notes on we can. I did just put in the booklet for these who are there. I thought it might be there to have a little handy table of what's happening in South America.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go through line for line, but you can just see that. You look at the different countries, the different climates and geography, the grapes that are grown, and kind of the wine styles and strengths. We need to be better with New World wine, to not just slap a sticker on it and go, this is New World wine.
True.
Going South America makes Malbec, Tanat, and Sauvignon Blanc.
Yeah.
Is like saying Europe makes Chardonnay and Sangiovese.
Except
And that's it.
it's bigger. So like, why are we doing that? It's even worse than doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think there's an important thing as we champion new countries. Do you want to move the tasting notes on for the lovely people?
Yeah.
We champion new countries and new styles. There's going to be areas of countries that make cheap and cheerful and not great, not bad, but just very commercial styles of wine. There's going to be certain areas that are doing, cool little stuff.
Yeah.
And, even in Uruguay, you've got Canelones, you've got Monteverde or Orlando. And then within Canelones, you've got the subregions of Las Violetas and stuff like that. We're slapped a big thing on going wines of Uruguay.
The sad part of that is
we're
we will
missing
never get
90% of the country.
some
at this
of
stage.
the exciting wines that come from those countries. In the same way that if you go to another country and say, what does England make? They'll say, all right, we're the only 2 people who bring in English sparkling wine. So it's not like that. If you go to any region of France, there are any number of producers doing incredibly exciting things that they go, oh, sod this, we're just going to be a Vin de France. We're not going to bother with being our local regional name because that's too restrictive. We'll do something cool instead. So, yeah, I think with South America, it's very commercial, and a big part of that is down to like things like non-tariff borders that we put up to stop wines coming in. Like, have you sent us a VI1 form and like a lab test result to show that it is what it is and everything? It's like, for God's sake, I mean, get over yourself. So yeah, so it's interesting where the politics comes into it all and stops us tasting these things. But you look at
sorry, you were talking about paperwork. Sorry, I turned off. I'm back now.
Oh, are you? Okay, nice. Happy days. Okay, all right. But anyway, right. So Vino Salor, Tanat.
This is
Cab Franc.
60% Cabernet Franc, 40% Tanat. So more richness, more ripeness, less tannin, more juicy, I think, than just the plain Tanat. But I think a little bit more complicated as well. More complex, bolder styles. And I think probably, and I'm hoping as the tasting notes come up to back me up on this, a little bit more to talk about. So when we were there, did I put a picture in? Of us picking the Tanat? Is there me with a load of... There we go.
there
They
you are.
That's at Salort. That's that. Look at all those cases. The question is, did I pick all that, or had the workers picked it all and we stood
He
behind the
picked
things?
one bunch and then he chopped his finger off or something.
Oh, no, we just stood behind it. So this was at Salort, and they were finishing up the harvest there. So it's really good to go and see.
Oh, that's nice.
But I'm just like, people, it's 40 degrees. People going around picking grapes by hand. It's too hot for my liking. But what was interesting, so the field next to that was a field full of cows, because it's the same thing. So we just wandered around from the grapes to the cows, to the grapes to the cows. It's kind of.
Yes, I think we're still here, but I think we've lost our camera, so that's exciting. So I might just bring our other camera on. But yes, tell us about
So yeah, it was just a really big site, big area. Driving from the house out to the vineyards was 20-30 minutes of driving, and it's all over. I'm moving in a little bit.
yes, that's good.
So it just showcases that they're doing multiple things, and what goes hand in hand, what goes together grows together. It's cultural. It's and yeah, absolutely brilliant. And they make the single varietal, so you can get a single varietal Tannat, you can get a single varietal Cab Franc, you can get different sets of blends from them. There's a lot of cool stuff that Traversa and Salort are doing. So we've had a few of their wines through the times, but slightly different things each time.
So what I don't see on this list of tasting notes is much in the realm of leafiness, tomato leaf, the green sort of pepper, any of those kind of things. And usually for Cabernet Franc, you do get that, but we're not getting that. So that's cool.
So about half of it goes in New American oak for 6 months as well. So that gives you, I think there's some cedar on that. That gives you that little bit of richness, that nice bit of mouthfeel as well.
Yeah.
But you compare it to Cab Franc, once again, from the other side of the world. Cab Franc from Bordeaux.
Yeah.
It's a different
Totally
world,
different
style. Yeah. And I think that's what's important. People will
really soft.
People will make a blanket statement about a grape. I don't like Cab Franc. I don't like Riesling. I don't like this. But it's not liking it from a certain place or a certain style or a certain producer.
True.
And I think that's important to look at.
Very interesting. Let's have a look at the comments down here. We've got on
wine of the night. Hey, so far, there's still one more to come.
Harvesting grapes is tricky. They walk themselves around the train. They do. They are designed to wrap themselves around everything that is there to support them. Non-glass servings. Do we have an opinion on Blind Faith? So Blind Faith is run by a friend of ours called Robbie. He's a lovely guy. So we've done it. We did it in the very early stages. We joined in Blind Faith. We found that some of the wines presented themselves really well, and others in the kind of like the plastic spout pouches struggled a bit. So
I think
it's a different kind of packaging
during lockdown.
Fun game
when you were doing the game and doing it immediately, perfect.
Yeah,
but if like with as we came out of lockdown, people are going,
we made mistakes.
I've left mine for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So we've had to do a lot of work on our shelf life.
It's a lot of learnings over the years.
This is why we have always been single serve, cut the pouch.
Yeah.
And other people have got the little
screw cap,
which we seal.
The screw cap hurts it more than you would expect. It's annoying. It shouldn't do it, but it does. The maths of it is bad. So anyway, we'll move on. We're using Slido tasting notes. Guess grape. Oh, I wonder where you did get that idea from. Kathy, that sounds a fun tasting. We should do that. So, and Finn is loving this as the wine of the night. I think it is velvety. It is a lot smoother than I would have expected. It has not got the greenness.
And we're back to a roast rack of lamb, potato, and pimient puree. Yes.
You can do better, Finn. Come on, still. Let's keep going. I'm definitely expecting some venison or something, or some game.
I was going to get that, but it's a bit dear. I'm here a week, exactly.
Right. Yeah. Okay. That's lovely. It's
But no, I
really
completely
elegant.
agree.
Really
Like, bearing
elegant.
notes, you know, the lamb, you know, this would go well with duck. And also, you know, when we talk about shit like this with like blue cheese would be brilliant. You know, that kind of saltiness from like a Roquefort or something like that.
Oh yeah.
A
Yes,
lot
please.
of fun.
Sounds good. Right. Okay. So, it is a warmer climate. So yes, the generally speaking, the cooler the climate, the more you have that that underripe kind of tomato leaf green flavour that you get from the Cab Franc. I have to say though, given that this is a cooler climate for South America, I'm surprised it's that ripe. So it's obviously a very well chosen set of sites, and it's great. So, I like it. Eucalyptus giving a menthol vibe and a bit of pyrazine potentially from the tanner. Yeah, definitely. But a nice wine. Nice wine.
I think it's
Like
good
that.
fun. It's good
Good
fun.
So tonight the wines are Uruguay. The wines are in general. They don't have the international recognition that a lot of the wines regions that we go to do have, do they?
They don't because they're small. They're a small country. 3 million people. So not a big country, you know. They've got 12 million cows, so that's why they've got a lot of beef. So it's 4-to-1 ratio cows to people. If you wanted to learn something tonight, if you take anything away from that tasting, it's that. Along with the fact that Uruguay means river of the painted bird in its local
yes, it
language.
does mean
So
river of the painted
there's
bird.
two fun facts for the day.
Yeah.
But I think it comes with a lot of caveats why something becomes popular. A, there's got to be volume. B, there's got to be interest. 10 years ago, we weren't drinking Chilean Merlot and Argentinian Malbec. 20 years ago, we were just getting into cheap Aussie Shiraz.
True. Yeah, quite.
So things will have their time. And, I think wine consumption is changing slightly. It used to be something came over, someone loved it, race to the bottom, who can make the cheapest Malbec, who can make the cheapest beer, get it on the shelves, and that would then pave the way for the next tier, step up.
Then people try to differentiate either by being cheaper or by being better. So
take Spain for example. Like so, Rioja. Rioja. Maybe you would like to try Ribera de Duero, or you like Rioja Crianza. You want to spend a bit more money, have a Reserva. So that kind of one step. Uruguay hasn't quite got that first
None of us know the first thing about it
to go
until we've done this.
What is the next step? So it can be, and this is why and I put my hands up.
So have you tried any
when we first put this
How
tasting together?
Yeah,
it was Chile and Uruguay.
It
was all going to be one thing. I'm like, we'll do Chile and I'll bang a couple of Uruguayan wines on the back end of it. Then I went there and I'm like, no. Uruguay needs its own tasting.
It does.
Which
it's kind of cool.
Didn't have in my mind until I got out there. And I think that's what makes it. And if me as a wine guy is going, how am I going to fill a tasting with Uruguayan wine until I've been out there and done it? Why would the average wine drinker have any thoughts?
Not a clue
of doing that.
So for the last wine, we are going to be going on to an everyday wine grape that everyone has all the time. We're going to dispense with the Tannat and the Albarino and all of those kind of strange things, the Muscats and all that. We're going to go for something that like we have all the time, every day, which is
Arena. So, because we haven't had a close-up video for a moment, we should go straight to the close-up video from Bruno Bressetti. Who makes this wonderful, wonderful wine. Had the privilege of going to see him. I would say we don't talk about Bruno, but that's a bit old. So let's go to the video.
All right.
Hello, how are you? I'm Bruno Bressetti from Uruguay, from Bressetti Winery. I'm fourth generation. I'm walking to the vineyard to show you a special variety we are producing. It is called Harina Arnoa, and it's a genetic crossing of Tannat and Cabernet Sauvignon. Not a blend, but a variety itself, created by those I mentioned before. I'm going to show you the vineyard. So this is how the vineyard looks today. It's almost ready for pruning. and this is the Harina Nora label. It's under the name of Pequeñas Colecciones. It means small productions.
So yeah, this was a brilliant winery to go and visit. And you know, Bruno, his wife, his dog, you know, it's proper little family runaround. And tiny. It's kind of almost like a garage that you then kind of walk backwards into, and a lot of it's done underground. And here we go. So yeah, so you've got the top level where a load of the vats, and then you go down underneath, and that's the bottom of the concrete tanks. And you know, we got a little demo. If you've ever wanted to know how wine works and where the juice is, where the lees is, and where the cap is, you can see the coloration difference on the wall where the liquid is. And so he was there drawing chalk lines as to this is where the different parts of the wine are as it's fermenting, which I thought was absolutely brilliant. But this was, you know, this was the polar opposite of Traversa as far as size. He's got the tanks like open, and he's got a fan on top of them to pull the CO2 out,
so they don't die. Because when you've got a lot of carbon dioxide in a tank, it is actually genuinely risk. People can die, and it's bad.
Is that the newest tasting notes?
That's officially the bad. No, let's move on. Let's move on to wine 6. Yeah. So new tasting notes. The Bracesti Arnanoa. Is that right? Did I say that right?
Arnanoa. Yes.
Arnanoa.
So it's a genetic cross. So it's not like the last wine was a blend of Cabernet Franc and Tannat. This is a cross. So they've genetically put the two grapes together. So it becomes its own thing.
And then they have baby grapes.
And I just thought this was A, absolutely brilliant. B, a grape I'd never had before. So it was cool to try and taste. And just made just made by a nice bloke. You know, I sat out in the vineyard, you know, little cheese platter on the table, drinking his wines. And you know, I could have picked one of many of his wines. He had some absolutely brilliant wines.
Oh, that's good.
But this is chocolatey, it's jammy, it's got some structure about it.
That's the best R&R I've had all day.
But it's almost got this like California Zinfandeli feel about it, maybe Petit Ferrari, because it's got that
little more subtle, but
about it.
Absolutely.
Zinfandel Light.
Yeah. So we moved on. Let's have a look at the tasting notes. So when two become one and need some R&R like you never needed R&R before.
No, that doesn't work.
It kind of works, but you know, there we go.
Cherry is there. I like Rioja, like that kind of like.
Yeah,
it's got that.
It's the lighter fruits, the
sort
of more red fruits, bit of oak.
It's another one. It's 3-4 months in American oak for most of it. A little bit of French oak as well, so it kind of balances out.
No, I like this. The Goldilocks wine. It's between 4 and 5. I couldn't agree more. The 5 was a little bit austere because it's, you know, sorry. So that's a cool note, and still with the lightness of the menthol and everything that comes from that sort of cooler sort of climate and everything.
I think what's going to be brilliant tonight. I think what's going to be brilliant tonight is putting the prices up, because I think there's going to be people going, "Oh, they're all cheap wines. Should have paid less for my tasting kit." But hey, we make it up for you during the year.
We do. We so that's one of the things when we're trying to do the individual packs. We try to work out every now and then, can we possibly bend the rules so we can put a cool wine in that's a little bit more expensive?
Should be Chambertin at Christmas.
Yeah, like that. Yeah.
But what I think is, you know, what wine and price on wine is important, but value. I think you'll see value in these that you can then buy 94 cases of it and drink loads of it. But yeah, so Bruno is great. Nearly lost my drone at Bracesti. So I put it up in the air. And because it was very flat, it was windy. It's like, no, you must come home. So the drone's coming back home. Guess who loved the drone when it was 2 foot off the ground? The dog. It's like I thought the dog was going to take the drone out. But yeah, absolutely brilliant wine, brilliant people, and I think what's important, for as much as we go, oh, I went traveling, and the people were just so genuine. If they wanted you to like their wine, if you didn't, it didn't matter. Here's something else to try. What did you like? I've done this, and so many of them. It's all it's all family. It's got history. These guys that came over late 1930s. Italian heritage. And you can see that style in their winemaking, and it's interesting when you go across South America. Argentina feels a little bit more Italian in influence, and Chile maybe a little bit more Spanish in influence. And I think that's what's really interesting, that you can kind of see the heritage and what people have done and which grapes have come over, and even though they're using a different grape, whatever wine style they're making, and I think that's really, really cool and really, really important.
Sounds good. Finn, which of the tasting notes on the Albarino was yours? Was it the I'm trying to look through them all, but every time I try to click it goes to a different one. So was it fruit salad sweets? I'm gonna guess that's got to be yours, maybe. Or no, I don't know.
Sea Breeze.
Sea Breeze. Is that not a horse?
I thought it was a cocktail.
Okay. Anyway, it's been great fun. So now this is a really interesting one. So Uruguay has a way to go to catch up with Chile and Argentina on the reds. Cooler climates do not do reds as easily. They don't do the commercial, bold, rich reds as easily as warmer climates, especially warmer climates with high altitude that keep a bit of the freshness, such as you're finding in Argentina. But yeah,
it's tough when you don't have altitude and you don't have that diurnal shift. If you're trying to make a fruit forward wine with no diurnal shift to keep fruit and acidity balanced.
I do find it funny how a country that's like that has gone for a grape variety which is tough to ripen, like Teller.
But you get plenty of sunshine.
You get plenty of sunshine. And that is these are the two things. It's not just temperature, it is all sorts of different things that come together. So yeah.
You think it's time for a quiz?
I think it's time for a very quick quiz before we all go to bed. So let's move on. So last look at the tastings for, oh my God, my wife's busy texting me about things I need to add to the shopping list. Perfect. And I'm on a wine tasting. New. Do not disturb. Right. Okay. The next wine, which is
no wine.
The next tasting. What's Uruguay's signature red grape variety?
Did you let people get into the quiz?
I don't know. I hope not. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll hit play.
Yeah,
Participants are joining.
Yeah, you've got to let people in before you start the quiz.
No, I don't know.
we only do this every
Trying.
month.
Yeah, but it did something different to what I've done every other bloody time.
Muting your laptop. Here we go.
Okay. All right. So
we're going to give everyone 30 seconds. Well, we're doing 30 seconds. Next month is Portugal. All things Portuguese.
And we're doing a barbecue, or possibly. But it's to do with how Portuguese wines work with grilled meats in particular and grilled food. And so that'll be a really fun one. Portuguese wines, we are seeing increasingly dominant. We've had some great partnerships with some Portuguese importers and wineries, and I think that's really cool. Anyway,
and I tasted really good stuff at London Wine Fair as well.
Absolutely.
Right, 10 seconds to get in, and then we are moving on.
Do next to make this work, but okay. Do I click first question? Yeah, that's. I don't know.
Oh, you've got your whole.
Oh, where's the present gone? Okay,
you got rid of present.
I didn't. It did.
Oh, it did. There you go.
Right. Okay.
And now you can move that. You need to get the present screen up.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Fudge. Okay. Screen share. Right. Present mode. Share.
There we go.
There we go. Right. So I'll go to that next tab. I told you something was weird going on. Oh gosh. What is Uruguay's signature red grape variety? You've had plenty of time to Google it if you hadn't known this already, but get your voting already. And in the meantime, we can tell you that this last week we have been getting involved in parliamentary debates, so much so that we are listed in Hansard. Hansard. This is the official parliamentary debate so far. 100% of people say that Tanat is the grape variety.
But
are they correct?
But are they fast? But are
and
they
who's
fast?
fastest? Julia with 3 seconds.
But there's 2 seconds
It's
between
all
one and fifth.
very tight.
Okay,
So,
let's go.
yeah, okay, we'll keep going and we'll talk more about Hansard later. Okay, so next. Which country is the original home of Tanat before it's made its name in Uruguay? Italy, France, Spain, or Germany? So yes, this week there was a parliamentary debate on EPR, the Enhanced Producer Responsibility, which tries to transfer responsibility for recycling costs to the companies who make all of the waste. Naturally speaking, the companies who produce all the waste have been up in arms and screaming about this. So, which is the country who is the home of Tanat? It's tight between Italy, France, and Spain, less so Germany. Which one is it, though? It is France, which brings us to Sophia. Ooh, in the lead.
Tied.
Oof, tied with Paul. Tight. That is very tight. So, next question. We are moving on to what's the capital city and the major wine port of Uruguay? Again, I have a feeling we might have mentioned this, but is it Montevideo? Is it Colonia del Sacramento? Is it Punta del Este? Or is it the Riviera?
Very, very serious quiz this month. You notice? Very serious with questions. I haven't asked how many badgers make
badgers,
or anything like that.
Terrible.
Serious quiz.
Can't believe you're serious.
Okay. Something like that. Right.
So, Montevideo is the most popular answer.
That doesn't add up to 100.
It is the correct answer. And Sophia remains in lead and extending her lead to 2 seconds over Paul. So, which traditional food of Uruguay famously pairs with salad?
Just leave it. Just let the people read it.
Yeah, I'll let people read it.
Just let the people read it.
I'm pursing in with Cocoa Pops, I think.
Because of that chocolatey,
Like,
velvety texture.
It's just breakfast and tonight. Just, yeah, no. Okay.
What's to that pair with it?
Oh, no. Stop it. Okay, right. Okay, so the time is up. Most people think it is asado, but some people think it is ceviche.
But nobody thinks it's Cocoa Pops.
Cocoa Pop. That is sad. Sad, but tragically, asado is the right answer. So, Sophia remains in the lead. She's extending a lead. Viola getting close, though, now into second place. Right. Which of these styles is becoming increasingly popular in Uruguay's modern wine scene? Port or fortified wine? Skin contact, natural wines, ice wines, or blue wines?
Blue wines. If you had a blue wine.
What's a blue wine?
They're making some blue wines in Spain. The wines that are actually blue.
Oh, yeah, the blue. Oh, how do they make those? They just add blue to them.
Blue. Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Because there's a whole thing about it in the booklet.
Surely not.
Basically, it's open book exam.
Oh, are they correct? Very good. Uruguay hosted and won the first ever FIFA World Cup, but who did they play?
I didn't put my picture up, did I?
In the final? Was it England, Brazil, Argentina, or Italy? Apparently, according to Amanda Barnes, they're quite proud about this fact that they were.
Well, they hosted and what? Yeah,
and the hosts.
Brilliant. I went down to the stadium. It's very nice.
Did you?
Nice.
Yeah. Did Tottenham Hotspur win it?
Not that one.
No,
Here we go.
That's a different one. Okay.
Oh, really?
England, Brazil. I always a
It's
close one. But it turns
divisive.
out none of us are football fans, which is
Well,
a massive shock to the system. It was Argentina. That was it, because they fielded Malbec in defence, midfield,
it's
and
because
attack,
it was
and goalkeeper.
It was very local.
It was a
World
whole cluster. Sarah jumps into the lead. Well done, Sarah.
With a 40-second lead.
40-second lead. That's crazy. So, Sarah, the way these things work, if you don't know this, is that if you tell us somebody that you like or don't like, we will send them a wine tasting kit.
Well,
next
she's
month.
got to win first. We've got 2 more questions. My word!
What?
What are you
I thought that was
doing?
the last
That's
question.
6 out of 8. It says right there.
Sarah, I take it all back. You've won nothing. Okay,
Yes.
right. What's a key winemaking challenge due to its humid coastal climate? Is it frost? Is it over ripeness of the grapes? Is it a lack of sunlight? Or is it fungal diseases such as you find in Jamie's shower, like mildew and botrytis?
Wow.
I know I've not been in your shower that many times, but okay. We shall find out because now is the time. It is 84% say fungal diseases such as your shower, and they're correct.
See-
Helen into the lead.
See, you sold
There
it
you
to
go.
Sarah. You know,
Sorry, Sarah. Well,
With one
okay,
question to go.
one question.
It's a
to
bit,
go.
if it stays
It
like
is
this, it's a bit
correct.
slow and steady wins the race.
When
that
you
is.
find it wet and cold, and then it heats up a bit, and then it cools down, then it heats up, then you find yourself with disease pressure from fungal diseases, mildew and botrytis. Last question. Let's go. This is the INAVI, but what does INAVI stand for? The Instituto Nacional de Vitivinicultura, or is it the? Oh, just read it. My goodness me, I can't read those things.
The National Institute of Unstoppable Wine Lovers.
Yeah, I feel that's.
I'm going to do it in
that's gonna
English.
be it.
I'm not-
Inhale, nose, incredible wine.
Do you know how much effort that I put into this?
Not
Like that.
enough. Not enough, clearly.
I was very happy for the
All
National
right.
Institute of Unstoppable
Yeah,
Wine Lovers.
that's good. All right. So 69% of people have said the National Institute of Vitin and Viniculture. Guess what?
Which it
They're
was.
correct. Congratulations. Sophia, a triumphant result. Violet, I'm very sorry. Very close second place there. Only 10
What I'd
seconds.
love to note here, the hardest question of the
Was the
wine quiz
football.
was the football one.
Yeah.
The only one I would have got
Who'd
right.
have thought it? Who'd
Okay,
have thought it?
Let's
So,
go to wine of the
wine of
night.
the night.
You're going to hide that
Yep,
away.
I'm going to hide that, and then we can hide that wherever it's gone.
So where we got? Did I miss anything? Did I put everything up right?
Oh,
Did I miss any pretty
haven't done-
pictures?
I think we've done all the pictures.
No, we haven't.
Oh no, there you go.
Totally,
The
there you are.
Estadio Centenario.
We are exactly. So that was where the first World Cup was. I think the prices. I think their prices can probably go up now. I think we should put the price up while
let's
people
do
are
that.
voting. That's all good.
Alrighty. Not the most expensive wines we've ever tasted. Not budget wines by any.
Absolutely. So we're
step.
not $6.99 on the show, but there's some good. I think there's some good value in that. I think there's some
Interesting,
really
fun
good drinking.
I like the Albarino at that price. I have to say that to me is a really cool wine. It has something over and above the Spanish ones, and I do like the that one at the end.
Me
That's
pulling
cool.
this all together to edit to make a Wines of Uruguay off the shelf pack is going to be really hard with your
Yep.
mumbling.
Indeed, and that's the way we like it. So
So anyway,
cool.
so I think there's a lot of fun, a lot of cool wines.
amazing value.
Portugal's coming up next,
Absolutely.
and I think there's some brilliant value wines in there. I think they really punch for what they are. Everyone cares about football. Exactly. So if you've had a great time, tell someone. If you haven't had a great time, blame Alex. And we will see you next month for Portugal.
Something else.
We
Yeah,
got
Portugal.
We got wine of the night.
Oh yeah, let's find the wine of the night. Just very narrow. It's the Cab Franc Tanat blend from Salor. That was 1.5, wasn't it?
Wine 5 was the top red of the night, and then the
I think
Albarino
so.
as the top
No,
white.
Albarino top
But
white.
all was pretty
Yeah.
close, and it is about what you guys like. Remember, if you love it, buy it. 60 quid gets you free delivery. If you love something else, give me a
Yeah,
shout.
brilliant.
But yeah, we will see you all next month.
We
It's
will.
been a pleasure as always.
Absolutely. And if you want to read more about us, check out the old parliamentary debate records where our local MP, the wonderful Alex Mayer, has been.
Oh look, there's no one left in the chat.
Yeah. Well done. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you to Alex for supporting us, and yeah, please back people up when they say glass is the only way and everyone was going to die if it was only glass. They're not talking the truth. It's just nonsense. So, anyway, we will see you next time, and have a wonderful
Portugal.
evening for Portugal, and good night from us all. What's this going to do? I wonder when I click it.
Just press the button.
Dread thing. Good night all. Take care.